Hurricane Sandy could be this year's real Halloween horror show if you live along the East Coast. People are calling it a possible Frankenstorm. We'll have the details right here, right now on the News Hub. Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Simon Constable. Here with us now is Wall Street Journal contributing meteorologist Eric Holthaus. With the forecast, he joins us from Wisconsin. Eric, I understand it's been a bit stormy where you are now.
Yeah, we're getting some cold rain and even thunder over the last hour or two. And this is actually the storm that's going to be merging with Hurricane Sandy to form the Frankenstorm over the weekend. So, yeah, it's kind of an unprecedented scenario. Maybe not unprecedented, but extremely rare in any case.
Now, didn't we get a similar storm about a year ago or something that was actually quite an impressive storm? How are the two different?
Well, there were two storms last year. We had Irene first. That was a tropical system that moved up on somewhat of a similar path to that Sandy will take. And then we had a big nor'easter, early season nor'easter, right a couple days before Halloween, that caused extensive snow and tree damage and power outages in Connecticut and across the Northeast.
We're looking at shots of that from last year. Now, the trees still had the leaves on them last year, and that meant that they were the weight of the snow was even more heavy, and it caused a lot of damage. If you get that this year combined with a hurricane, do we just see complete devastation?
Well, it depends on what you mean by devastation, but we have definitely a scenario where I'm not sure that we'll get as much snow as we did last year, but the coastal flooding will likely be worse in places than it was during Irene. The storm Sandy is expected to retain its strength northward, which Irene did not do. As you remember, it kind of fell apart once it hit New Jersey. And in those people in New York City were kind of wondering, why do we have these mandatory evacuations when the storm was over in about, 12 hours? But upstate, Vermont, the Catskills in New York were really devastated during Irene with a lot of freshwater flooding. So, I mean, the initial 5-day forecast right now of rainfall is showing about 8 inches, in the New York City area. So, and that's kind of the first estimate that we're getting as far as numbers. But, if we do have some freshwater flooding in addition to the snow would be actually south of where the hurricane would make landfall. So, we're talking, Virginia up through Maryland, central Pennsylvania would get most of the snow. If the storm makes landfall right where the National Hurricane Center says it will right now, which is going to be around central New Jersey is the most likely place right now, is what it's looking like.
So that could be ground zero for this storm. So I remember last year, certainly in my neighborhood, which is right by the East River, people were stocking up on fresh water and food and all that sort of stuff. Is that something that we need to do again, or possibly only if we live in central New Jersey?
Well, it's going to be a large storm because you have, once the hurricane transitions to kind of a outside the tropics, the wind and the rain associated with will expand, and potentially cover an area from DC to Maine. So it's really way too early to tell where exactly the worst impacts will be, but it is looking increasingly likely that somewhere on the East Coast is going to get hit pretty hard.
Okay, well, we hope everyone remains safe. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure. Eric Holthaus, Wall Street Journal contributing meteorologist, joining us from Wisconsin.